Hi everybody, we're in mile 595.6, the Osceola shelter at the Florida National Scenic Trail. And we have a new guest. His name is? Odd. He goes by Odd. That's right. How did you get that name, Odd?
I was in Nashville, Tennessee, stuck at I think it was a shell. And I was going through a trans thing at the time. I was, figuring myself out. But I had on a corset, and this old redneck hillbilly dude from Nashville walks up and starts talking to me about it. And he asked if, I liked guys. I was like, well, no, I like girls. And he's like, so wait a minute, you're a guy who wants to be a girl who likes girls. That's odd. And my friend Buttons was standing next to me and goes, nope, that's your name now.
Odd. Okay. All right.
It has been my name since.
Well, it's good to explore definitely new ideologies, and get to play.
Sometimes you got to go through the hard pass to figure out who you are.
Correct. Okay, so tell us, now we're hikers. We're through hiking the Florida Trail, but you're here in another mission.
It's a survival mission.
Survival mission. So Odd came out with his loyal dog, who answers to, call him Maximus. Okay.
He also responds to doofus and dog.
Dog. That's right. Look at him. He's so sweet. So, but he came out here with, like, in my idea, minimal equipment. He doesn't have a sleeping bag, and his food will be provided by the woods.
I've got more tobacco and ganja than I have food. Small things.
What is ganja?
Pot. Marijuana.
Oh, okay. Cannabis.
The green goddess.
Okay. Tell us what your plan is for the next little while.
Well, I've got a friend of mine who's coming out who doesn't know how to survive off the land, and I'm going to take him on a hike from this point about 3 miles north through the woods to the next road, surviving on what we have in the forest.
Okay.
Most of the food I have is for baiting figure 4 deadfalls and snares. That's why it's vegetables.
Okay. Okay, and you were going to catch frogs yesterday.
Yeah, it's really easy to catch them at night.
And what do you do with them?
Well, you can clean them before you cook them or after you cook them, but you basically just take a stick and ram it through the body and get a few of them, like a shish kebab, and then you stick it over a fire and let it cook until it's fully cooked, and then you pull them off and eat them.
Do you use any seasonings?
Yeah, hunger. The best seasoning.
Okay. Do you have you ever been in trouble for catching animals of season or, shouldn't have?
Oh, yeah. Because when you catch something larger, like an alligator or a deer or, something like that, if it's not in season and the rangers walk up while you're in the middle of cleaning it, it's really hard to play it off like you found it. Yeah.
Goodness gracious. That's a lot of
the time, if you're doing what I'm doing, they won't give you any hassle. You gotta eat. You gotta survive, and there's always that loophole in the law. If you're surviving, the law can't tell you to go die.
Yeah, but okay. But you're surviving. You came out here to survive while you could be in your house. So you came out here to kill animals to survive.
I was a hitchhiker for 5 years, and I own a farm in Oregon now, and I own a house on the other side of Jacksonville on the beach, and so it's been quite a culture shock. Like, it happened almost overnight, and rather than, just getting comfortable, I'm a boss for almost an entire business. I am in a position of authority. Like, I've got roommates at my house that look to me to answer questions about what to do. And as a famous video game character said, people in power should not be comfortable for very long. Mm-hmm. So I do these survival missions because I know how to do it, and it's rough. Like, I came out without a sleeping bag. After 2 weeks of being out here without a sleeping bag, when I get back to my bed, I'm going to appreciate that bed a lot more. Mm-hmm. And it keeps you humble. You forget what it's like to be hungry and what it's like to go thirsty or cold or uncomfortable at night. And then you can no longer empathize with people who are going hungry or cold or uncomfortable at night.
Mm-hmm.
So doing this keeps that in my mind of what the world is actually like, what humanity is supposed to be like, and what we started as. We're not supposed to have all the lavish luxury things. That's not what nature provides. We built that.
Mm-hmm.
And we built it for the sole purpose of being comfortable. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But we get consumed in the idea that that's everything. And if you come out here and you survive off what the land gives you, you're gonna go hungry for quite a few nights. Like, I'm pretty hungry right now, and I've got a couple cans of stuff. But I gotta watch the calories.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta watch my food rationing.
Did you bring food for...
His food is coming with my partner.
Okay. Yes, he's so cute. Okay, so now tell us about the turtles. How do you catch turtles?
Oh, I mean, you can catch them many different ways. You can use a fishing line with a hook and catch them on the inside of the beak, and you can literally watch them as they come up. They'll put their foot down on the bait and grab it, and as soon as they put it in their mouth, you just yank it back and reel them in.
Don't you feel bad about killing animals?
I don't like to kill any living creature, but in a matter of survival, all animals are fair game.
But so I'm conflicted because I understand you're wanting to connect to the earth and resources, but I don't understand why anybody would put themselves in a situation where they would have to kill an animal in order to survive if you don't like to kill animals.
Do you know what an alligator's primary food source is?
I suppose turtles and fish?
Turtles,
actually.
Okay. Do you know what you'll see all the time if you spend any length of time in a swamp?
Yeah, turtle carcasses? And...
No, you'll see turtles riding on top of alligators.
Uh-huh.
They'll just jump off of a log on top of an alligator and ride it through the water like a water steed.
Okay.
Now, if that alligator gets hungry, it's going to whip around and grab one of those turtles. Huh. But the turtles know to jump off before the alligator gets hungry and swim away. In a lot of ways, it's actually a symbiotic relationship. The alligator not only protects the turtles from other predators as it goes through the water, but the turtles also help to clean up, the alligator. As it eats fish and whatnot, little bits of rotting meat fly off of its teeth as it's swimming, and these turtles reach down and grab it as it goes. It helps clean the environment, helps keep the alligator clean. And so in a lot of ways, you could argue that alligators care very deeply for the existence of turtles. They need them to survive. And you could say that the turtle cares for the alligator. Now, does this mean that they're not going to eat each other if given the chance? Absolutely. But that's just the way nature works. You gotta eat. And so being out here, I feel bad for killing a creature. But at the end of the day, we are all playing that game. I could just as easily be eaten by an animal out here. There are big animals out here. And so, by putting myself into that natural cycle of life, yeah, I have to kill things, and I don't like to do it, but I have to. And it reinforces that you are part of this cycle. Do you eat hamburgers or steaks?
Very seldom, because I am conflicted myself, so I'm kind of borderline vegetarian, but not really, because I do eat fish too, and yeah, I understand you have to survive, but it's commercially available. I never actually have caught.
Alive.
Yeah.
You got to kill it to eat it. It's the same principle. I mean, me coming out here to eat animals that are out here, and me going to the store and buying a steak are the exact same thing in my eyes. Both were once alive, both had to die.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really fucked up part of reality, but that is the universe we find ourselves in.
Tell us how you have used the resources you have found. You told us about a roadkill you have found, and you used it for something else.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've found all kinds of roadkill on the road. Really, any animal is good to eat. Some of them, you got to find the toxic bits. Some of them aren't really good to eat because you can't clean the toxins out, but those are usually very easily noticeable. But just about all flesh and muscle creatures like a dog, cat, bear, turkeys, boars, squirrels, you name it, those are all good to eat.
Mm-hmm.
If you find them on the road and they're not, bloated and rotting away, they're still good to eat, You know, and then you can take the bones of them and use them as like spear points or spoons, make pipes out of them, make flutes out of them. You do anything you want with it, really.
Tell us about some of the language that you used yesterday was quite new for me. Like the scientifically unnamed animals. What are they called?
Cryptids.
Cryptids.
Yeah.
That you said you have seen some of.
I've seen quite a few.
That animals that are not non-descriptive animals.
They are animals not recognized by mainstream science, usually due to lack of evidence and extreme rarity.
Like the chupacabra?
Chupacabra, Sasquatch, skunk ape, skinwalkers, wendigos, flesh gates.
And you've seen that?
I've seen a few of them. I haven't run into a Sasquatch yet, unfortunately.
You know what this reminds me, remember, of Napoleon Dynamite? His liger.
Yeah,
have you seen a liger?
Oh, yeah. No, I've seen a liger. What's a liger? Half lion, half tiger.
What's a liger?
They will not occur naturally, but if you take a male lion and a female tiger, or the vice versa, and stick them in the same cage together, eventually they'll mate.
Okay, so ligers do exist, everybody. Maximus,
yeah,
you better be careful.
Exist in captivity.
Okay. Another term that you used yesterday was that of for meth head. What is that called?
Tweakers. Yeah, no, that one's been around for years.
Tweakers. Well, it's all new to me because I don't know the lingo.
Yeah, another term for them is junkies, but tweakers are the really high strung. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Hey, man. Hey, what's going on over here?
Oh my God.
Those are tweakers.
that's unnerving, even in your imitation.
Yeah. Now imagine one just randomly showing up on you in the middle of the woods.
What do you do?
Really, you treat them the same way you treat anybody.
Yeah.
You know, you keep your guard up. I assume y'all aren't out here unarmed.
Mm-hmm.
It would be stupid to be doing so. I'm very heavily armed. I've got at least 3 different blades, a spear. Like, if they start something, I can handle the situation.
And you have your dog.
Oh, he's worthless in a fight. Dog won't help me. I'll stand there and talk shit. That's it.
This has been a most interesting experience because you're not our usual hiker that we find in the woods. So it's quite interesting. You're in a whole different level of existence out here.
Yeah.
You know, we're basically going to from point A to point B. You are more like...
I'm submersing myself.
Yeah. Really, in a way that... Although I admire your tenacity, I would never want to do it.
No, we and I were talking about Survivorman. It's an old show. I think it was on Discovery Channel. Les Stroud does the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. His is a bit more complex. He sometimes gets helicoptered in and dropped off. But what he does is he does this to show people how to survive in extreme emergency situations. But you can apply those same tactics just walking around. But if you watch the show, you'll hear him complain about doing his own show. Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. Like, I'll never say last night was a comfortable night's rest. Mm-hmm. It was hell and it was not fun. But that's the point of it. It's not supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be comfortable.
Yeah, that's the thing. I get a lot of friends going, "Oh, what an awesome vacation. Oh, wish we could have the time to do that." It's like, dude, if you had 3 months, would you really go and spend it walking through the swamps or doing this or that? The idea is to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And not many people are willing to do that.
Yeah, there's a man who climbed Mount Everest without oxygen. And when he got back down, he was half dead. He was in a rough shape coming back down. But when he got back down, they asked him, "Why'd you go up there to die?" And he said, "I didn't. I went up there to live." Mm-hmm. It's the same concept as big game hunters. Mm-hmm. Big game hunters who go out into the Sahara or the savannah? The savannah. And they take on big cats and, massive apex predators. They don't do it because it's easy. They do it for the thrill of taking down something much larger than them and the uncomfortableness of having to cover your sins and walk through the savannah and sleep under trees.
Yeah, that's all very exhilarating, except when they are hunting, the endangered species or,
Actually, I believe it's Australia or New Zealand, one of the two. There's a country that has, it's Africa actually, but there's quite a few endangered species out there. And so what they've done is, rather than blockading all hunting of these species, they allocate a certain number of them, the old ones, the weak ones, the ones that aren't helping to contribute back to that population again. And then they tax these hunters to allow them to go out there and do this. And what it does is it brings poaching down, because why poach when you can legally do it, you know? And then they take these tax dollars and they actually use them to fund shelters and, you know, zoos and habitats where they can take these endangered animals and regrow their population. They wouldn't have the funding for this if it wasn't for the hunters going out there to kill the big game. And yeah, it's fucked up, but human beings have always been that way. We were taking down mastodons because we could. One mastodon fed an entire village for months, you know, and supplied them with heat and lighting and all sorts of stuff. And they didn't do it because, you know, they could kill an animal. They did it because of the thrill of taking down something that massive. For me, it's no different. It's just my prey is nature. I get to take down nature, you know. It can throw whatever it wants at me, and I'm still going to walk out of here alive. That's the same thrill. You walk in and stare a lion in the face, and then you come out of the other end alive. It's exhilarating.
Hopefully, yes.
You know, like I said, if it's done properly, it can actually boost a country's economy rather than completely decimating an entire species.
So, from my environmentalist point of view, and I'm, you know, like love everything, hug everything, don't kill type of thing. It's I'm conflicted, but I'm so grateful for you for sharing your points of view, for sharing what you're doing out here, because it really is enlightening, you know, to see somebody else's point of view. And
I mean, I get trying to reconcile environmentalist with big game hunting mentality. But if you look at it like this, the big game hunters who go out there and they kill one animal, right? And they're like, yeah, and then they go home. They're not like the poachers who are going out and killing an entire herd of elephants just to get the tusks off of them. You know, and if it really came down to it, the big game hunters doesn't want the elephant to go away. It doesn't want to drive the elephant into extinction. Poachers don't care. You know, but the people who hunted the buffalo for the thrill of hunting the buffalo as well as the meat of hunting the buffalo, they were very sad when the numbers of buffalo dropped to the point of near extinction, because it meant they can't go out and do that anymore. You know, the ones that do that with the right mentality, they actually care very deeply for the, fragile balance.
yeah, I've noticed that, in fact, walking through the forest, there are deer feeders on the trees, and these are deer feeders put up by people who will hunt the deer.
But they leave their deer feeders up year round usually.
Right.
You know,
so
they've also got trail cams around it if you watch, so they can get pictures of those deer.
It's really interesting. I've learned a lot about not only the forest and animals, but also about people and that love-hate relationship or love-need.
Yeah, it's
that
not really
symbiosity.
It's
like,
symbiotic relationship. And like I said, it's a fucked up part of our reality. Like, it really sucks that we find ourselves in a universe where that is actually necessary.
Unless you go vegetarian, 100%.
Even then, you're killing something. Like, see these palmettos all around us?
Yeah.
Every single one of them is edible.
Right.
But to eat it, I have to kill that entire palmetto plant. I cannot harvest food out of that palmetto without killing the entire plant. It's actually why it's illegal to harvest palmettos in the state of Florida. They're the state plant, and it's highly illegal. If you're caught chopping up a palmetto like that, it's a serious offense. But they're edible, and I could eat them. You know, it's just the circle of life.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything lives, everything dies. And everything preferably would die perpetuating the cycle, rather than dying in a mass extinction where there's a bunch of death and nothing grows from it. I would rather animals be killed and eaten and provide energy for another living creature than just rot away. You know, even if you're trying to protect the deer and animals in this area, it's hubris and arrogant to think you could actually protect them. There's mountain lions out here, there's bears out here that'll gladly eat a deer if they stumble upon it.
Yeah.
You know, the idea that you can walk through an area without changing it in some fashion is completely ludicrous.
That's the innocent fool in me. Well, thank you so much, Odd. We really appreciate
No
it.
worries.
Thank you for your time. I sure hope Maximus makes it. I hope you find your food so Maximus comes out of the 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, he'll make it. Like I said, I'm really going to be hiking dog food with me around for him.
Good.
Yeah, my partner's bringing the beer and dog food.
Okay.
That's all he's bringing.
Okay.
'Cause I ran
So
out of
you're
room in my
set.
pack.
You're set. Okay. Have a wonderful stay and happy trails.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, be safe, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.